Namaste, my dears. Hello, and welcome to this little video episode of the Sunrose Yoga Podcast. I received a question from a reader or viewer, a fellow yogi, about Chaturanga Dandasana, or the four-limbed staff pose, and ways to work into this posture and ways to modify it as well. So this is a great question, especially if you take any sort of flow yoga or vinyasa yoga, power yoga. You're likely to encounter a number of Chaturanga Dandasanas in your practice. Now this is a challenging posture, and one that, if practiced incorrectly, can lead to rotator cuff problems with your shoulders. So I advise that you practice this pose in isolation prior to integrating it into your vinyasa practice. That being said, if you're taking vinyasa classes and you're not quite into Chaturanga yet, I have a couple of modifications for you. Now to begin, I will just note that Chaturanga itself is safest when your shoulder is at the same level or higher than your elbow in space. And I'll demonstrate that really quickly here. If you're coming from above, that means you lower down here, not here. That's where you get into tricky rotator cuff trouble. I can't even do it that way because it hurts so bad. But in the meantime, here are a couple of ways to modify your practice if you're flowing from plank to Chaturanga to Cobra or upward facing dog and to downward facing dog. Beginning Cobra, and lower your knees to the floor. Shift your gaze forward so that your belly drops down a bit. We have a nice long line from the crown of the head all the way to the knees. Soften the back of the heart. So here's your plank. Breathe in here. And as you exhale, keeping your elbows close to your body, lower down 3 inches. Now from here, you can either lower all the way down to the earth, and then inhale, peel the heart forward and up to Cobra, or lower down 3 inches, peel the heart forward and up, pushing up to upward facing dog, and floating to downward facing dog. That's modification number 1, which to review is knees down, lower down 3 inches, and either lower all the way down to peel up to Cobra, or float there to upward facing dog. Modification number 2 was sort of included in there, but it's a wonderful one to begin with. Press out through the heels, shift the gaze forward, soften the back of the heart, breathe in, and as you exhale, lower knees, belly and chest down. Notice my elbows are glued to my sides. That will help you later on. Press the tops of the feet into the floor, pull your heart forward and up, Cobra, float to downward facing dog. Now those are 2 ways to begin your vinyasa practice, to begin integrating Chaturanga into your flow. Once you feel pretty good there, I have something fun for you. Practice regular plank, press out through the heels, gaze forward, lower down 3 inches, push forward to upward facing dog, and flow back to downward facing dog. That way, you're not tempted to fall into your shoulders. So those are 3 ways you can get started. I also recommend reviewing my video on the difference between Cobra and upward facing dog in this area. It can really help protect your shoulders. Thanks for joining me. Namaste.